Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. I've got an interesting video for you guys today. Well, at least I hope you guys will find it interesting. Because I'm going to be talking about the legendary Omega Speedmaster. Specifically, I'll be speaking about which model I would choose if I was going to go for a model in that brand. And, this would be an interesting choice given that many of you may know something about the rich history that is associated with this particular model. Before I continue with the video today, I'm just going to show you what watch I'm wearing at the moment, and of course I'm wearing my Rolex Submariner. Since my last video on the winding, I've made a point of wearing it more, and in fact winding both my Tudor and my Rolex so that I can keep them in the best order possible. As you may have noticed, I've got a space related background on my TV at the moment, and that has something to do with, yes, you guessed it, the models that I'm going to be referring to. And of course, the first model I will be referring to as part of this video will be the Omega Speedmaster Moonwatch Professional 42mm chrono. The second watch I'll be focusing on as part of this video will be the Omega Speedmaster 57 41.5mm coaxial chronometer. So let's go and have a look at the watches themselves and look at all the pros and cons, and finally I'll give you an answer on what watch I would personally go for out of the two that I've just mentioned. So it's just under 51 years since Buzz Aldrin, the astronaut, landed on the moon and joined his colleague Neil Armstrong on the surface of the moon on the 20th of July 1969. Attached to his wrist was the first watch to land on the moon, and that watch was the Speedmaster Professional, now known as the Moonwatch. This watch contained the earlier version of Omega's 1863 caliber movement, which was the first movement to work effectively on the moon. If I was going to get one of these watches, I'd be sure to pick the clear caseback version so I can see this superb movement in action daily. Of course, this is the slightly more expensive version because there is a steel caseback version. They're slightly cheaper. The clear caseback versions come in at around £4,700 for the steel and steel model. Along with this, you also get a very welcome Moonwatch presentation box that also has a NATO strap. This NATO strap is also more like what you would have seen the astronauts wearing when they walked on the moon that day, as you wouldn't use a steel bracelet over a spacesuit, for example. Although this watch is steeped in history, there is one thing that needs to be noted about this watch. The 1863 caliber movement inside this watch only has a 48-hour power reserve. However, crucially, not only that, it's a manually winding movement. Therefore, you do need to continually wind this watch so that it keeps moving, because it won't wind itself as what you would see in automatic watches, for example, such as the Rolex Submariner, which I'm wearing now, and many other automatic watches you see today. So in my opinion, this watch is for someone that's a bit more experienced in having watches that require winding, so that you can be prepared for the winding schedule that is required to keep this watch in motion. This brings me on to the Speedmaster 57. And for those that love the history of the Moonwatch, but prefer something that perhaps may be slightly more easier to use on a day-to-day basis, i.e. an automatic watch, the Speedmaster 57 will be ideal for you. The main difference between the Omega's Moonwatch and the Speedmaster 57 is the fact that it's got Omega's 9300 caliber movement, which is an automatic movement, which means that you're not required to wind this watch every day because it winds itself. And in fact, the only time you would need to wind it is after 2.5 days of completely zero use, because it's got 60-hour power reserve, which is fantastic. This is the watch I would recommend to those that are just starting their watch collection, or perhaps are beginners in using automatic or manual watches that require winding, so that it gives you that time to get used to the process of winding your watch and learning it as an essential thing to do for the watches that you have, and of course the many other watches you will hopefully get in your lifetime as you increase your collection. The cost of this watch is around £6,700, so you have got a slight price difference there. However, you are using a more advanced movement. So in conclusion, what watch would I choose out of the two? These are both fine watches with fantastic movements, and to be honest with you, it's very difficult for me to choose between the two. However, due to the everyday, day-to-day convenience of the Speedmaster 57 and the fact that it's an automatic self-winding watch, I find myself drawn to that one in the outset. However, the rich history of the original Speedmaster Moonwatch and the space history that accompanies it means that despite the slightly less convenient day-to-day usage of the watch, given that it's a manually wound watch with only a 48-hour power reserve, the only watch and movement to walk the moon means this is the only choice for me. Because I know that every day I wear that watch, I'm looking at a piece of history. The extra work to keep this watch going is certainly worth it for me. That's the end of my video today. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. Please let me know what you think in the comments. Drop a like, subscribe. I look forward to next time.